Hi everybody, here's another demo video for you. Today we are going to be making baghrir, which are Moroccan semolina pancakes, also called like honeycomb pancakes because of the light airy texture and the holes that spring up on the top. They are very light and chewy, but have also a little bit of sourness to them because they are a yeasted item. So we've got all of our ingredients all here lined up in our mise en place in mason jars like I usually have them organized in. We've got equal proportions of semolina flour, which is a wheat product, but it's made from a different part of the wheat, and it's a very coarse grind. See, look at how it's sitting on my thumb like that. It's going to be very different than the all-purpose flour. I mean, look at the all-purpose flour that's all over my sweatshirt. It's not like that semolina flour. And we've also got about a tablespoon of baking powder. We've got baking powder in addition to the yeast, which I have there, because the yeast is going to be for flavor, but the baking powder is going to help us get a rise. We've also got quite a bit of lukewarm water. And so we're going to add all of our dry ingredients into a large mixing bowl first and stirring thoroughly to combine. I'm using a whisk today to mix in my ingredients because our batter is going to be quite thin. It's not going to be like mixing bread, but rather, it's still going to resemble a traditional American pancake batter, but the difference is going to be that honeycomb texture because of the yeast we're adding in. So we're going to continue stirring that until we don't see any like clumps of semolina flour. And once that is thoroughly combined, we're going to add all of the water, all 3.5 cups. It feels like a lot, which is why I added it slowly, but it is not too much. Go ahead and add all of it in all at once and whisk to combine. So whisk that batter until it resembles something similar to how mine looks like. Just imagine, you want it to be able to pour out onto a pan, so it has to be not too thick but also not too thin so it doesn't just spread out like water. And we are going to let the yeast begin to activate itself by letting it rise uncovered on our counter for 30 minutes. That's going to give the yeast enough time to give us that nice yeasty flavor and a little bit of rise. This is not going to rise like a bread, but it's more for flavor. So I am preparing my frying pan with generous amounts of butter over a medium heat. I'm really making sure to coat all of the edges of the pan, and we're going to be making pancakes that are a 1/4 cup in size. So, like many pancakes, the first batch is often kind of a throwaway batch, so I'm showing you how my second batch turns out. Sorry, I'm adjusting the lighting there. If you see me doing that, that's what that means. I'm trying to get it to refocus. So I'm pouring out even as possible spoonfuls of my batter right onto the cooktop. And these pancakes differ from an American pancake because you only cook it on one side. If you cook it on both sides, you are going to lose that honeycomb texture. So I did a bit of a time lapse for you because you can see when the baking soda activates. Baking soda activates when heat is initially applied to it. So that's what's going to really give it that nice big fluff. And then the yeast is going to activate a little bit after that by creating those holes that kind of burst out on the top. So let them cook on one side for about 5 to 6 minutes until the tops are dry. Because my frying pan is larger than my burner, I rotated them a bit to make sure they cook evenly. Having your pan be the right temperature is really important. You do not want it to be too hot. That's really going to be the temptation here, is going to be to crank that heat up so it speeds up the cooking time, but all that's going to do is burn the bottom while the top remains undone. So you really want to keep it on a, medium, erring on the side of medium-low heat until your pancakes are completely dry on the top. And mine are still quite shiny on the top, like that one. That one's pretty close to being done. Some of the others, not so much. But if you're patient, this is your finished product here. They're going to be light and airy, a little bit tangy because of the yeast, and traditionally they're served with a bit of apricot jam. I had some raspberry jam, and those holes in the pancake itself make it really great for filling up with jam. They were super yummy. Everyone in my home enjoyed them, even my younger brother, who is very picky. We took all of our leftovers and placed them between pieces of parchment paper and froze them, and then popped them in the toaster the next morning and had some super delicious Moroccan pancakes all week long. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I can't wait to see how you do. Happy cooking!